The inflation surprise with today's report. I have all the details and the full breakdown right here in the video, so let's get right into it. All right, now earlier today we got the very important CPI data release, otherwise known as the inflation report, that we all want to watch very closely because we get this report once per month and it gives us a glimpse into what is really going on with consumer prices all across the economy for a basket of goods and services. Well, that was just released this morning for last month, and I want to break down all the details here in this video because, as we always see every single month, all the people come out after the report is released and say, look, inflation is going down. And then every single month we dig into the report right here on the channel in videos just like this, and we look at what is really going on with inflation under the hood of these reports to see, are these prices really going down, or is it just the headline number, but under the hood we can clearly see the prices are still rising. Well, we're going to get into that here in just a second, and the surprising information within this report as well. So let's get into it and talk through those details. However, really fast before we do, thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe by hitting the button right down below the video, as it's totally free to do so, and because it is my dedication, my commitment, and my promise to you and everybody right here in the community to continuously be here right by your side every single day in videos just like this, breaking down the latest information as it's hitting the wire and letting you know how it may impact you, your money, your benefits, your lifestyle, your bank account, and of course anything showing up out there right now you can possibly grab and or take advantage of during this very confusing, this very busy, and this very uncertain time that we're currently living through. So again, thanks so much for joining me. Please subscribe down below and let's get into it and talk about the details of this latest CPI data release hot off the press earlier today and what it all means for all of us going forward. All right, so some very important information within this report yet again. All right, so the headline number came out at 6.4%. Basically what this means is that inflation is still up 6.4% on a year-over-year basis. That is what that number means. Now, obviously, throughout the day today, you've probably seen a few people coming out saying, look, inflation is down again. But is it really? Actually, let's look under the hood here. Let's dig into the report a little bit further here because we're going to clearly see what is actually going on with inflation, okay? So even though the people are coming out saying inflation is going down, okay, inflation is going down on what? The real question is on what, okay? That's what we really need to know right now. Is it going down on, high-ticket items, luxury items, airline tickets, used cars, things like this? Or is it going down on the things that all of us are buying on a regular basis? Again, more on that here in just a second. All right, so as we dig into the report here, we can clearly see the headline number, to be fair, did go down a teeny tiny bit over last month's report. However, let's look into the report now a little bit further. As we look at it on a month-over-month basis, guess what? Food prices went up another 0.5% or 0.5%. Okay, well that would tell me right there that inflation did not go down on food, but rather food inflation went up another 0.5%. Well, if we look at it a little bit further, housing, shelter, and rents went up another 0.7% month over month, by the way. This is not an annualized number. This is month over month. So as we can clearly see here, shelter alone went up 0.7%. That is almost 0.75 of 1 percentage point in one single month. Again, that's a lot, right? That's a lot, especially when you're talking about rents or housing. Housing is generally, as of right now, in fact, in 2023, the average rent across the entire country right now is $1,300 a month, okay? So if it went up 0.7%, that's a lot of money on a month-over-month basis. That's about $91, according to my mental math that I'm kind of running right now. So that's a lot, right? That's a lot of extra money on a one-month basis. All right, however, let's look into the report a little bit further here, and let's look at all these numbers on an annualized basis now and what this report actually showed. So here's what it showed. Food is still up 11.3% on an annualized basis. Again, that is a lot, right? Something that all of us are buying on a regular basis. Next, energy is up 8.7% year over year. Again, that is a lot on a year-over-year basis. Again, energy. Are we all using energy? Electricity, gas, water, utilities, things like this, right? Yep, we're all using it. Therefore, it is still up 8.7% year-over-year. Next, we're looking at shelter. This is still up 7.9% year-over-year. Again, that's still a lot. Almost 8% on an annualized basis. And like I said earlier, just a minute ago, the average rent right now is $1,300 a month. Again, looking at that going up 8%, that's like, what is that? A lot, whatever the math is, it's like $1,400 a year more, right? If my math is correct on that. But that's a lot. My point is, it's going up a lot. We're dealing with big numbers here, okay? Here's one more little silver lining if you happen to be in the market for this. There's not many people that are, but the report went on to show used car prices are down 11.3% on a year-over-year basis. Well, we see this every single month, right? So we continue to look at the reports here and we can clearly see, okay, the things that people are buying on a regular basis, food, shelter, energy, healthcare, things like this, prices are still rising, right? We clearly see that. We just went through the numbers there. Prices are still rising month over month and year over year. Prices are still rising on the necessities. However, is a used car a necessity? Well, it depends how you look at it, right? Everybody needs kind of some kind of transportation for the most part. Not everybody has transportation, but most people need some type of transportation. But does it mean that everybody's out shopping for a used car every single week or every single month? No. You're maybe buying a used car maybe once every couple of years. I'm not really sure. It's probably different for everybody, but every couple years, somebody's looking for a used car, right? Airline tickets also went down. Wow. How often are we shopping for airline tickets? Well, again, maybe a couple times a year, maybe once a year. Most likely for most people, maybe once every couple years is probably more realistic for the average person out there, right? So again, we can clearly see here, yes, inflation is going down on some things that most people are not buying on a regular basis. However, the necessities, food, shelter, energy, healthcare, the things that we covered here in this video earlier, yep, they're still going up pretty rapidly every single month and a year over year. Now, here's a couple other things as well. We heard a little bit of information coming out of Fed governors today suggesting that inflation is still way too high, and this is going to prompt the Federal Reserve to come in and continuously raise interest rates even more. Now, a couple weeks ago, it was actually 2 weeks ago exactly, they were out and they raised interest rates 0.25%. So in other words, 25 basis points, 1/4%. Now, that is the smallest interest rate hike that they've had in about a year, right? Well, this might indicate that, wait, inflation is still stubbornly high right now. Inflation is very, very high. In fact, inflation is 3 times higher than what they want it to be. Generally, the Federal Reserve tries to keep inflation around 2 to 2.5%. That is their benchmark. That is where they like to keep inflation. Well, inflation right now is sitting at 6.4%. That is 3 times as high as where they want it to be, right? So you can clearly see here the Federal Reserve has their work cut out for them. Well, some of the top economists that are out there now are suggesting the easy part is done. Bringing inflation from 9.1% down to where we're currently sitting, 6.4%, was the easy part, right? Now we're going to get into the part here. We're going to see some economic turbulence, like in an airplane, a little bumpy ride here going forward, right? Or now, as they call it rough air now, right? They don't even call it turbulence anymore. They call it rough air. Have you ever been on a flight over the last maybe 4 or 5 years or something like that? They've been calling it rough air for a few years now. So my point is, we're going to get into some rough times now, okay? That is what the economists are now suggesting, and they're saying that right now, basically between now, where we're currently sitting right now, about 6.4% inflation, and bringing it back down to about 2% is going to be the rough time, okay? We got the easy part ahead of us. The easy part is done. That's behind us now. The rough road is ahead of us, okay? So now we're going on that track now. So we'll have to see what actually happens here, but this is what they're suggesting, is that the Federal Reserve really needs to step up on this thing, and they're going to cause more interest rate hikes going forward, and they're likely not even going to start to even pivot or even start to cut interest rates until next year. Well, we're still very early in 2023 as of right now, so we got a long road ahead of us, and according to what they're saying, it might be a pretty bumpy one, right? Or rough road ahead in the airline terms, right? Rough air ahead. So that's what they're suggesting. And again, I like to dig into these reports every single month so you can clearly see what is actually going on. As I've always said, we're going to dig into these reports and see the actual real data behind this. Now, the big question out there as well, or as some people might suggest, the elephant in the room is, are these reports even accurate in the first place? Well, again, we don't really know that, but based on what we can see with all of this is we can compare these reports side by side, okay? So whether they're actually accurate or not, that's anybody's opinion. I'm I'm not taking sides with it. I'm just simply saying there's a lot of controversy out there saying, are these inflation reports even accurate? Are these jobs numbers reports even accurate? Good question. But here's one thing that we can do. We can look at all these reports side by side. So whether they're accurate or inaccurate, all we know is that we can look at them side by side and we can compare apples to apples versus just saying, well, I don't know, the reports are probably not accurate at all. But again, at the end of the day, we can clearly see the trend here. Food is still going up. Shelter is still going up. Rents are still going up. Healthcare costs are still going up. Energy prices are still going up. However, if you want to buy a used car, well, then you might be in the market to buy one now because they're down about 11.3% from a year ago. So I don't know, right? It's kind of interesting how this whole thing plays out, right? Anyway, hope this one helps you to better understand the situation right now. As I've always said, I want to continue to dig through all these reports and bring you the information as it's being released, but I spent a bunch of time today looking through all these reports out there, really digging deep on this so you can understand what's actually going on and the real information behind all these reports here, because you've probably seen in the headlines today, oh, inflation went down. Okay, yep, it went down a little bit on some items, but I'm guessing the prices you're seeing at your grocery store and all around other things that you're buying out there is still going up, right? I mean, that's the case we've been dealing with for a very long time now. Have we seen that change? Not really. It's the same thing, right? Anyway, hope this one helps you out. Again, I want to be here for you in any way that I possibly can be so you can understand what's actually going on and these reports that are being released. Again, please leave your comments, your question, your feedback down below, as always. Again, make sure to subscribe down below. It's totally free to do so. Share this video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out any of the other thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, enjoy your day, and I'll catch you again later in the next video.